Thank you. Dana, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, and we hear you. Good afternoon, members. Today is Monday, March the 11th. This is the Tennessee Athletic Commission's regularly scheduled board meeting. We are located for this meeting in the Library and Archives building and have been very blessed to be in a beautiful location with technology working for us. We are in the Middle Tennessee Conference Room, and the agenda for this meeting was posted timely for the members to be able to access and know that the meeting was being held here. The meeting information is posted a year in advance when the dates are approved, but it was also posted on the website as of March 6th. And again, the location was very important for this particular meeting. So in order to go ahead and proceed, the first thing I'd like to do is roll call vote to ensure that we have quorum. When I read your names, please go ahead and let me know that you are present. Ms. Christie Halbert? Present. Thank you, Ben Grove.
Present.
Thank you, Dan McGrew.
Present.
Thank you, Matt Reddish.
Present.
And Patrick Wright.
Present.
Thank you, sir. All of our members are present. And we are starting the meeting a little bit later today. It is exactly, I believe, 2:18. The first order of business I would like to put on the record is the agenda. Members have received it. It's also the first item on your iPads. If I could have a motion to accept the agenda as it's been presented.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Motion is by Ms. Christie Halbert. Do we have a second?
I second.
And a second by Dan McGrew. All those in favor of approving the agenda as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we will proceed. On your iPads, you have the December meeting minutes. Those were also emailed to you prior to the meeting. If there are any amendments that you have found, please let me know and we can make those revisions. Otherwise, we would need an amendment to proceed. I'm sorry, a motion to proceed.
Make a motion to.
Thank you. We have a motion by Ben Grove. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
And a second by Matt Reddish. All those in agreement to accept the December minutes as presented, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, the December meeting minutes are accepted. On your iPads, members, we are on page 6 of the 10 pages. This is the first portion of the director's report. The budget shows the commission as of the January 2024 closing dates. We have added a loss of we have a total line item of $86,812 for the year so far. And our revenue for the year is a total revenue increase of $155,136. And this was due to two very large events right as the fiscal year started. This brings our reserve to a positive reserve of $89,659. And so that information is for, of course, just purposes to discuss if you have any questions, but at least for this fiscal year, we are no longer in the red from the reserves, and it looks like we'll finish the year in the positive. There are no questions. We will proceed. I'm going to go a little bit out of order and let Jesse do the legal report for us. And then before we do our new order of business, we will do our election of officers and follow Robert's rules of order. But let's, if it's okay with the members, just go ahead and stay on the iPads and look at the legal report.
All right, Greg, we've got. I can't be working, but. Okay, great, that's working. We've got a short legal report. There are 4 new cases and 1 case that is being represented. We'll start with the 4 new cases. The first case in the legal report is complaint number 2023-058101. And there's a brief summary with the recommendation. I'll let the commission review that and see if we need to discuss this complaint. there any questions about this first?
So, out of curiosity, when a complaint like this takes place, what is the cost to the state for this?
It was a good question. Yeah. As it relates, so I know we receive a bill from our centralized complaint office, and I'm not sure how they count that on a monthly basis when they bill us, but as it is right now, I'll say it, you know, if we feel like it needs to be investigated further, something like this did not require an intense amount of investigation. So this complaint probably did not cost the state very much to review and to prepare for review by the commission. I don't have an estimate to the amount, but I know I'm looking at, it looks like our centralized complaint division, I mean, they bill us usually about $100 or so a month. I'm not sure what the average is. They were probably, there's one where it says $800. I'm not really sure what that was related to, but I know we do get billed when they have to open complaints and get what's prepared.
I support the recommendation as long as the 250, at least covers the cost to the state of Tennessee.
And the only thing I would like to add to that is it would cover that. To Jesse's point, our numbers, we don't open a lot of complaints, which is a good thing. If there's investigation on top of it, that would definitely increase it, and that's where we see a fluctuation. But otherwise, they have a set amount based on the standard documents they have to add to our core system and so forth. So I would imagine that it would cover that.
So how does everyone feel about suspending the license of the fighter?
That's not automatic, given that they would have an outstanding, outstanding charge or penalty by the state.
It is not actually, so even at this point, if the commission authorized the suspension of his license, unless he agrees to it, we would have to go through formal proceedings to suspend that license. And he expires in October of 2025, so obviously he would have the ability to continue to apply within the state and contract for lights until that license is suspended. But that's something that we could add to that or do in lieu of the penalty if you all felt like that was a more appropriate option.
Being that he took money from the promoter, obviously put in a lot of money into getting him with light, I would say a civil penalty is appropriate as well.
I think that motion would accept it as it is. I think it's mostly a contract dispute between the promoter and the fighter. We're kind of just limited to what we want to penalize him for with failing to put forth his best effort. So like $250 is appropriate, the main person.
But do we want a license fighter to them show up to the fight? Or is that more of a blacklist something they can do at bench?
Well, and that's, if he is, just say he agrees to whether it pays the penalty or not, if he agrees that this is, a violation in time to our consent order, he would still show up in our disciplinary action report, which is a public document. So if another promoter saw that, they would obviously have the ability, because it's a public record, to see that, do I want to contract for a fight with this person if they've previously been fined for not showing up to a fight?
Would you state that motion again, please?
I was supposed to accept as recommended.
I'll second.
We have a motion and second. All those in agreement with the recommendation by legal counsel for case number 1, please say aye.
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 Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move on to case number 2. Thank you.
All right, case number 2 is complaint number 20230633101. There's a brief summary and a recommendation. Discuss if there's any questions or any further deliberations.
On this particular matter, it was pretty clear that there was no violation of the rules and regulations as they are written. But it was just, in my opinion, it was just maybe not a wise decision for this particular bout to happen. Every rule was followed. Things were done correctly, medical, licensing. We're not saying that, or I'm not saying that anything was done illegal, which it was not. Everything was above board, but I think what that just shows is we may need to look at our requirements a little closer to where something like this can't happen again, to where someone could be hurt. And it just was not, I don't think it was a wise decision. If an individual has no experience whatsoever, it's sort of like trying to climb a ladder, starting at the top. Only place you have to go is down. And I think we need, when we have a rules meeting, we need to address things such as this, that can happen. And I know that people they can train, you know. I've been driving since I was 16, but it doesn't mean I can go and drive a NASCAR. I've got a lot of experience driving.
To the counter argument, though, I know guys in jiu-jitsu that can kick my butt. They never competed. Not on world championships. So
Is there a 30-year age difference?
there's probably a 20-year song, honestly. But they are out there. I think there's outliers. But like, I think you're talking about the general public.
Exactly, what you're talking about, they're jiu-jitsu students, but they have experience in jiu-jitsu. Yeah. All right, you're talking someone that has no experience in boxing whatsoever.
So he wasn't training at this gym.
He said he was training, but training is a lot different than competing. You know, and given the age difference, it's just a perfect storm for disaster. And the way that particular fight ended was what about someone would expect. But the individual was supposedly training with a professional trainer, which is fine. If that trainer says that an individual is able to compete at that particular level, well, then maybe we should change it and have them sign some kind of affidavit or something to that effect, that they vouch or they can swear that this individual can compete on that particular level, to where it does not turn into a circus. You get someone in there and just get completely pummeled. That does them no good, that does the opponent no good. No one. Now, I wish that we were able to grant wishes for someone, but that's not what we're here for. I may want to be an NFL player. But it'd be hard for me to get a team to grant my wish. You understand? I'm just using that as an analogy, but, I think we just need to look at our rules and regulations and how we could, shore them up, make sure that it doesn't become, something like this doesn't become a danger to individuals or anyone else.
It may be some additional context as well of kind of our procedures. Because we had a similar issue come up, I'd say, last month. I think it was when we were asked about that, one fight if we would approve it. Last, was it?
Yeah, the last meeting.
There was so after this event, obviously, that occurred, there was a different promoter, a different fighter had asked a question about approving bouts. When we looked at, there was like a gap of, I think, several years of any fights that were seen, substantial number of times where this individual had been knocked out, and just some other concerns potentially about this individual's fitness. Our rules and statutes really look at the denial of the permit as a whole, the entire event, based on if there's a question about that, if we felt like there was issues with that fighter or that specific, outfits lined up. So as it is written right now, I think just something for the commission to be aware of. That is really our recourse, is that, if there was something that would be concerning, it wouldn't be, we can cancel this bout or say you can't have this, you can't have the entire permit. And it's essentially what we're looking at with that one. And I think that they ended up changing it up. I mean, they didn't want to proceed with that, with that knowledge. But that is essentially in the future, the way I think we would have to look at a situation like this. If you've got someone who they say, we want to match up, this champion fighter, they got all these wins, or someone who's got 100 times and been knocked out, right? We would have to look at it and say, do we want to even grant this permit as a whole? It'd be every single one of those styles. So until we look at amending any further rules or asking for a statutory change from the General Assembly, to be able to say, you can't have just one specific one, that's what we would look at the entire event.
Based on that, I make the recommendation that we accept. I make the motion to accept the recommendation to close 1-2.
I second.
All those in favor to accept, legal counsel's recommendation on case number 2, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, thank you. We are on to case number 3.
All right, case number 3, which is complaint number 2024-001621. There's a brief summary and a recommendation. And the recommendation will be on the following page 3.
Given that this is a second time that the issues occurred with this respondent, I make the motion to accept the recommendation to authorize formal charges with an offer to settle for 500.
Did they pay ultimately on this one?
On the first one they did, on this subsequent one they had not. So that $500 penalty would be in addition to KFC tax.
That's what I was curious about. As long as it's in addition to what they actually owe, then I'll second.
Hearing a motion to accept in a second by, the motion was by Christie, correct? And Christie Holler and a second by Matt Reddish. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, thank you. We move on to number 4.
Number 4, which is case number 2024004151. There's a brief summary and recommendation put on page 3. If there's any questions, I'm happy to discuss.
I will make a motion to accept council's recommendation on this particular one here. To close and flag.
Here we have a motion, do we have a second?
I'll second the motion.
And a motion by Dan McGrew, a second by Ben Grove. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, thank you, members. We move on to number 5, which is a representation, and our last one.
This is a case that's being represented. It's case number 2022-010421. The summary and original recommendation and commission decision are on this page 4 with the new information and new recommendation on that final page. Sorry, on page 4 is the new information.
Motion to accept the new recommendation.
I second.
Thank you. We have a motion by Matt Reddish and a second by Dan McGrew. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you, Jesse. That concludes the legal report. We're gonna come back now to some of the director report items. This is our first commission meeting for the year, so as such, we need to agree that in our meetings, we will conduct ourselves following Robert's rules of order. And if there are any questions, Jesse, we need to explain. Otherwise, we would need a motion to proceed and make sure our meetings follow those rules.
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. We have a motion by Christie Halbert. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Dan McGrew. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Any opposed? Hearing none. The next order of business, again, with our first meeting for the year, is to elect our chair and vice chair for the commission. I'll turn that over to the commission to discuss. Before we do a vote, let's go ahead and work on the chair first, if we could.
I nominate Dan McGrew to remain as chair.
I'll second
Thank you. We have a motion by Matt Reddish and a second by Christie Howard to re-elect Dan McGrew as chair. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none. Thank you. Our next order of business,
Let me say something.
pardon. Yes, sir.
As chair, I appreciate your confidence in me. I love boxing, I love martial arts, and I think it's an honor to serve on this commission. And I think that each one of you are experts in your own particular field and knowledge. The knowledge that I see here, the people here, it's unbelievable. And I think we are lucky to have each and every one of you on this commission, and it's an honor for me to be considered to be the chair of this commission with all the talent and knowledge that we have. I will try to do my best in serving this commission and to do what is best, I think, for the commission and the state of Tennessee. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Your passion's apparent to all of us. And I, for one, really appreciate it and your knowledge.
Thank you. And our next item kind of goes hand in hand with some of our new business. So Patrick, if you are okay sharing your decision with the commission, I think they'd love to hear from you for a minute, and then we will vote on vice chair.
Right.
Make sure you've got a mic. Thank you.
I will go along with Mr. McGrew there and saying what a wonderful commission this is, what a great group of people. You are all the time looking for the best in this state. Always wanting to put our best foot forward. 60 years ago, I got involved in fighting. And I have every day since taught classes, run schools, trained police, trained Navy as a Navy contractor for a number of years. Special Forces Army. And it has been a quest of love for me. I've loved every minute of it. And I started working with the commission in 1977. And I have since then consistently worked with, and then finally, as a part of this commission, I've judged over 638 professional kickboxing matches for the PKA when it was the happening thing before MMA took its turn. And now, that boy back over there, I adopted him last year. His father, killed a person and then killed himself. And that's my son, because he wanted to be my son, because he respects me and I love him. The kid next to him is my daughter. I raised her by myself from the time she was 18 months old. A couple of years ago, she was in St. Jude's with an inoperable cancer in her head. And I, like all sinners, found a closer relationship to God. And I got my daughter back. And the kid next to them is my wife. And when she was 15, I saved her from a very extremely violent situation. Didn't see her for 30 years and then saw her at the bottom of my stairs at work, and that's all it took. I never dated her, not even once. And I fell in love with that woman, and she turned around and saved my life a couple of years ago from meningitis when all of a sudden I was hallucinating like you would not believe, just out of nowhere. And I enjoyed it. They didn't. They thought I was going to die. And thank God she's a critical care nurse for 20 some odd years. So she did save me. I'm done. I am not going to be able to go forward with you guys. I made this decision a month and a half ago. My legs are shot and I'm having a real rough go. That boy, I have to take almost everywhere with me because I can't get him out of a chair by myself. And it really has had its effect on me. So today, I want to thank you all for all of your kindness and respect that you've given me. I know I'm an old fart with all these war stories and stuff, but I gotta tell them somewhere, okay? I mean, yeah, and you guys listen really, really well, so I give you my best ones anytime. With that, I'm done, and I The fighter. The fighter. Is a guy. Who most of the time can't find answers to his question. Except to find the lowest common denominator at the end of his hand. Or foot. And these guys, just like me back in the day, we need protection from people who do think. Who do think farther than we do, let's put it that way. It's our big deal just to go out and put on a show. But you guys are the ones that protect us. And that's the deal. The insurance protecting the fighter. There is, that's it. Yeah. As long as we can stand up for the people who give us this fine job, and I'd love going to the fights and representing our group and doing so. But it's time for me to be done. I have a karate school in Memphis that I've had. We were where kickboxing started in the United States back in the early 1970s. We had the first middleweight world champion, Bill Wallace, was my partner, one of them. One of the other ones was Red West. And there was another guy, Elvis Presley was the other guy. And we had a karate school, a place that Elvis Presley could come and he didn't have to entertain any of us. All he had to do was be a guy. And it was kind of cool to watch. But yeah, this has been my life. I was a poet. And I saw the beauty of life and the words with which to share it with others. I've had a son killed down there, shot in the head. I've been through it. And I guess I can't say I'm not a poet anymore because I have such beauty around me that I can be a part of as an old man. So I'm not gonna go any farther into my thing, but lady, you are something else. Roxana, you really are. Just in the time that you've been here, things have been pulled together in fine fashion. So you're something else. Right here. You too, pal. Yeah. Yeah. So good luck to all you guys. And you know, I'll be somewhere doing something. Like chasing ducks or something. You never know. But thank you all again.
Well, Mr. Wren, I'd like to say that being a martial artist myself, I've got a couple black belts, different styles. And whenever I tell someone I'm on the commission with Patrick Wren, their eyes just light up and said, really? Did you get his autograph? But thank you for your experience. Thank you for being three things. A man, the myth, and the legend. And you are irreplaceable. And we are losing a lot of experience here. And thank you for sharing with us your knowledge, your skills, and your dedication to the state of Tennessee and to us. And I take my hat off to you and I salute you. So thank you, sir, for all that you have done and all that you are doing and all that you will do. You're not done yet. You'll be doing other things here and excelling. I know you will. And when they make the movie of your life, maybe Chuck Norris will play you, I think, but he'll have to come up a few notches to match you. Thank you very much for all that you've done.
Thank you, sir.
I agree, Mr. Wynn. I want to say thank you for your service to the people of the state. Thank you, for the positive difference that you've made in the lives of people who participate in the sports that you love. And, thank you for being such a valuable member of this commission. And it's been a pleasure working with you, and yeah, you're not done. You got other things going on. I look forward to hearing about them.
Yeah. All mystery stories.
I'll write some down and have them for you if you need one.
I see you again.
You bet. All right, I'm gonna go now with that I can, and,
Give us a minute to wrap up, but thank you. I too want to thank you immensely. We're gonna elect a vice chair and be done, but, on behalf of us in the office, definitely Jesse, we are gonna miss you.
Thank you.
And you have been a great support. Anytime we've needed to pick someone's brain, I've called you. Anytime you've, seen something that wasn't right, you called me and let me know, and I appreciate that immensely.
is there anything on the governor level that we have to attend to?
No, we are in
We're good
great
there.
shape. Yes, we are all gonna miss you. So members, before we wrap up, as far as the meeting is concerned, we do need a vice chair. You all can nominate. We've got one of three potential and,
Nominate Christie Hubbard.
I'll second that.
She'll continue to serve that role.
we have a motion by Matt Reddish to nominate Dr. Christy Howard and a second by Ben. Is that correct? That's correct.
I can still vote. can't I?
Yes, you're here. We're not.
Go with it.
There you go. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, we have a chair and a vice chair. Thank you so much. The only other item before we conclude is, of course, members know that our meetings are always open to the public. If there's anyone that has participated remotely, John or Dana, do we have anyone participating with us? I don't think so.
I don't see anyone.
Thank
No,
you,
there's
John.
no
Thank you. And we have no one else here to address the agenda. So as far as I have everything met on the agenda. Members have questions? Yeah.
As far as the, bare knuckle boxing discussion, do we have a timetable on that?
We do. Our rules were reviewed by the Attorney General's office and have been submitted. Our next meeting will actually have those prepared to vote on and discuss. So if anyone has, anyone, there's no one on the call, but if you have anyone who is interested in discussing bare knuckle boxing in the state of Tennessee, I would encourage them. They can send written comments to us, but they can also appear at the meeting and discuss.
I had Tim Under discuss, he wanted, Muay Thai fights with MMA gloves. Would that be under that?
Or it would be different.
Separate, I mean, get the one past first.
Yeah. And then any other research we wanted for rules, we talked about experience, age limitations, we'll work on those.
Good, helping us, we had a hearing and 2 complaints about people not paying gate receipts. Would it be possible to like 500 upfront or something like that? Or that like a rule?
It's a law.
Yeah, it's kind of involved in a sense, apparently we've got like a run of people trying to skip out on this.
I think part of the problem is the statute says they have, they're supposed to spend it within 10 days of the event or after the event. I think we could ask them probably on the front end, but if they don't pay it, still issue that permit. We'd probably try to figure out a way to say, you can go ahead and pay this ahead of time, so we don't have to track you down later. And all we do is submit the gate receipt form.
So it'd be like a statutory change.
Yes.
The statute set the amount or is that?
It does. It actually sets the minimum of that 500 or the, basically the times 0.4.
Or the minimum 500, which is the gate fee, and then for the broadcasting is set there as well, with a maximum of 50,000.
It's probably too late to make a legislative request for this year, but maybe next year we like consider that, especially if we tell people up on the hill that people are abusing the rules written, maybe like some sympathy. When we up for sunshine again,
Maybe it's 2 years.
At least 2 years.
2 years, maybe we've mentioned like struggling.
Yeah.
Keep our head above as is and
Yeah, and during self-sufficiency, we actually address that.
We're not trying to, like-
The gate fees at the end and.
right, we're not trying to increase the cost, just if we get them paid up front. Or
Yeah,
other
thank
things.
Doesn't pay the portal. I believe so. I think they can pay through court.
Not just yet, it's on our next high-end wish list item. So, yeah.
Sorry, the thing that came from the hearing about medical insurance. If anyone want to discuss that real quick about if we want to try to release the medical insurance records to, Mr. Guevara.
Yes, do we have access to the information for the?
Yes, we do, and we actually discussed with Mr. Guevara, that carrying plate's a public record. And based on our law, he would actually do the public records request. The only thing that makes it difficult is the law limits the release of public records to Tennessee citizens. So after we realized he was a South Carolina citizen, we did tell him, a Tennessee resident could make this request for this public record and be released. We have not received any other public records requests for that specific item.
So to release that information to a participant otherwise would require some kind of rule change or something, statute change?
I think we could do it by rule. We just add a new rule, and that's something, when I've had conversations with the Public Records Council, the Attorney General's office. Typically it's, the laws are looking at restrictions to who can receive records. And there is a restriction that talks about, for us at least, medical information, restricting who can have access to that. So that would be something that's not a public record. It's something like an application, medical insurance information, the bond information. Those are all documents that could be considered public records. It's just limited by other laws as to who can request those. I think the commission could have authority. We would have to look at if it would have to be a statutory change or a rule change. If we get a different rule that could say a fighter could make that request potentially, maybe that could be an exception to allow that. I think that is something that public policy may agree that is a good avenue because a lot of our fighters come from out of state. If they don't have access to that information, they're limited, would have to have a Tennessee resident make that request. But I do think if the commission, I think, could vote to decide to release that medical insurance to Mr. Guevara, it's even in light of the fact that he wouldn't be entitled to it as a public record. If the commission decided to do that, that's something you all could vote on.
And what does the bond cover?
So our bonding requirement, the way that it's written, this is something we've actually explored, as to how other commissions deal with it. It's supposed to be for the benefit of the commission, essentially, for the way that, if there's a fee that's left, for example, that is something that we have found out that other commissions, if they don't pay their gate fees, that they're able to go essentially against the bond. So that is something that we're going to explore with the final order from today's hearing, is whether or not that's something that we can use to go against the bond and have it paid that way. But that's something also with the gate receipt tax, for example, if we can request that against the bond that's filed, that would be easier. We just have to figure out our procedures for this, so we haven't outlined that. And it's a situation with the bonding company, you didn't release that, they haven't completed a gate receipt tax form, for example, and we're just sending the statute that says you owe us at least $500. We're not sure if that company's going to release that or not before we have a formal hearing on that.
Do we have any, sort of audit system on the tax forms, or do they just spell it out?
For the gate receipt, they just, send it to us.
I just thought it was very, I had my paperwork because the guy had $0 for broadcasting television movies, but the guy who was waiting for being the owner was had a media company, so it's just nothing else.
No, and that's the thing, we also did that too, especially as it relates to the media rights, because streaming is becoming more and more popular, and it's especially as a source of revenue. And a lot of those funds from streaming are not necessarily realized. Actually, thank you for.
Thank
We
you.
thank-
Talk to you soon.
No,
Thank you
take care.
so much. Thank you. You too.
You saved my name up there. I'll use it again.
Okay. Bye. Take care. Bye.
We do have a few promoters who have been delayed with submitting first receipts forms because they haven't been able to calculate the streaming revenue yet. And we are trying to give them grace on that. Some of them are getting behind because it's something that we are constantly looking at, whether that's, they're getting revenue from YouTube or if it's from the other providers. For example, we're starting to see fights that are now on Amazon Prime and Netflix. So it's a situation, they're not necessarily Tennessee fights, but they're just in general professional combat sports. So that is something that I think all boxing commissions will have to look at, specifically we will as well. We are getting a few more fights that are relying heavily on streaming. And especially as we see more influence fighters as well.
How does everyone feel about trying to release those records, Mr. Farah? I mean, I think after hearing an agreement that he was injured and they haven't been provided to him. Finance of that.
And I will add that he did make a formal public records request. Unfortunately, at the time, that was denied because he wasn't president.
About the insurance,
Right.
is it not too late for them?
I guess the question of the insurance company, not sure they can still file it, or not.
So if you want to make a motion, like I said, overturn the denied public records request and allow that information to be provided, that would be the best avenue for that vote.
It would come straight from the commission. I don't see any harm in it. If we can't do it, then our hands are tied, then we've tried.
Yeah, I'll second.
We have a motion by Becky and a second by Dr. Christie Halbert to go ahead and release the medical insurance that the commission has on hand from the moment that that event was approved, and we have that. And release that to the fighter that was injured during the fight of February 7th. And so we will proceed with that and see how far we can get. All those in favor, please say aye. Any opposed? Hearing none, we'll move forward.
I motion to adjourn.
Thank you. We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I second.
Second. Thank you. It is 3:07 and our meeting concludes. Thank you, members. This was a long day. Really appreciate all you've done.
And thank you.